next game. And since it is a ZVZ and we've seen a lot of lane baneling wars from both these players today, especially Buzzbin, I do expect ping to perhaps be an issue. Thank you, no bueno. Can't tell if you're specifying that I'm not from Canada or that you're not from Canada. Because you'd be right, I'm not from Canada. Let's get the score up here, because it is a best of 5. There's a very notable difference of the finals versus the rest of the tournament. In the bottom right, as the green Zerg, she is Buzzbin. On a clan I recognize, I believe I faced quite a few people on Cloud M. The top left, adding on that gas already. It is the blue Zerg QB. 1 base gas pool. The gas timings really aren't that dissimilar between these two build openers, right? You can literally see that right there. But, more notably, the spawning pool timing is very different. So QB, with this type of build, is certainly going to go for more of an aggressive stance. If it didn't include gas, I might bring up like an over-defensiveness versus early pools. But even then, it's like, you can defend kind of anything with a hatch first as long as it's scouted and microed properly. It is easier with a build like this. Now this is more about aggression, for sure. It's just exactly what timing of the aggression does Buzzbin actually know what's going on. But Buzzbin was the player who 2-0'd Telia with 2 slightly different timings, but basically same idea of Ling all-ins. And QB probably was watching that, thinking that she would win and go on to those finals, as she does very often go to the finals. And if she was watching that series with Buzzbin, then she should be on to her tricks. This could be an attempt to kind of get things started in her momentum. You know, you're not just looking for damage here and there by the first initial lings, but you're also looking to keep tabs on your opponent, maybe more so than if you went for a hatch first, regular old standard macro game, you know? Kind of get that momentum on your side, and I think there are a lot of people who don't quite grasp just how good it is that you're always on the map attacking, how much that is actually the scouting that goes down in StarCraft. When, you know, people bring up scouting, they're like, did I have an observer over their army, or did I cast Revelation? When really a lot of the scouting we see from pro gamers is just them constantly on the map, looking for those openings, looking for aggression. So this would count. Seeing that many lings with QB's opener, she meant to be aggressive if she had an opportunity. Instead, she sees, wow, it's a fuck ton of lings, and is now very aware of what's going to be on the way. Buzzbin, you could certainly argue, should not have shown that many lings to her opponent this quickly, because once again, we have that issue of just too much knowledge too soon. But does QB have the proper reaction? We saw Telia see it in advance, really. It still fail in the defense. So does QB do better? QB do. Does she perform better here? We're on a different map. Those complications of Automaton that I was noting, very different than Akara's Junction for a few different reasons. All the ones I noted, but so now we have a graphical representation of that. Hold on here. Hold on. The Queen's a little out of position, so she's getting more surrounded than you would really want. Transfuse isn't quite ready to go. No, it was ready to go. She was just late to it. Maybe it doesn't matter. The Spine Color is done, and this type of all-in really does lose steam quickly. Buzzbin, down 2 workers, is going to go back in her own droning, but now she has to deal with the lack of a Baneling nest. And then we also have to see just how good her macro game is, as that has not yet been tested. But anyways, the Queens and the Lings providing what was supposed to be a wall to the Queens. The Spine Crawler can actually reach and protect the natural, as well as protect the ramp, just with the default creep spread, which is so different than Automaton. So different. Big reason why that looked even easy. It could have been perfect if QB had saved her Queen, actually. That would have been a perfect defense then. But it was close enough to it. Buzzbin finds herself without that tech, which is very scary. But she does have that slight economic lead. That's not where she's going to be worrying. And might even see some similarly timed third bases. But QB will have the Baneling advantage. It's just a question of, does she think she has it? Right? She hasn't gotten any further scouting since those first few lings in the beginning of the game. And, you know, for Buzzbin not to immediately slap down the Baneling nest when she realizes her attack didn't work is actually quite ballsy of her. So, That could have Punisher. We might have a punishment of QB instead. Leaving her natural little open as the Spine Crawler is moving down. But 3 drones for 3 drones. Banelings connected into the natural base. Very even trades. Buzzbin still not adding on that Baneling nest. Does QB realize that? Is she going to try and push the issue? Maybe she does know, but just doesn't want to try and force it to work. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's still thinking about so many other things in this game, right? Trying to stop run-bys, trying to do run-bys, trying to make sure she has enough Banelings, trying to replace her queens. She might not be thinking about that advantage. Whatever it is, she's building defensive Banelings, it looks like. Trying to get that little run-by set up. The best of both worlds, both defensively and offensively. Might work out. If the attack doesn't work for QB, then maybe at least she'll scout this very, very fast lair. And perhaps even what goes beyond that lair. But getting surrounded in the middle of the map here, the Banelings were late to help their buddies. They do have more than just a couple of Banelings, so there is a depth to this. If Buzzbin thinks she's got the last Baneling, she's wrong. And then she also collided face first with most of her Lings into those Banelings. The Lings did not do a lot of damage for QB, but they did, in fact, scout that lair. 2 Spine Crawlers at the front is going to be something that's very hard to bust. You know, for QB, if she wants to deny a 3rd base and really force Buzzbin to sweat, then yeah, take advantage of the fact that you have a Baneling nest. If you're trying to break... Oh my god. Well, that's a lot of blood splatter. If you're trying to break a Zerg player who is turtling up on 2 bases with Spine Crawlers, well then maybe over-dedicating with Ling Baneling is actually a very big risk. But QB is finally going to go ahead and do that. It took a little while, up to 29, 28 drones just about, but there we go. QB making a lot of Lings, a lot of Banelings, as well as getting that 3rd hatchery. Still a big committal to the attack. 2 Spine Crawlers obviously going to help out deal with the Lings, but also should be in conjunction with the Queens, probably even on 1 hotkey actually. The same hotkey, they should be focus firing the Banelings as they come forward. If they come forward, maybe QB decides, okay, I can't break that natural. I should just be macroing from here, and I'll contain you. We'll see. She already got 1 fantastic Baneling hit. She's looking for another. If she did take out every single Ling here, then the Spine Crawlers, they're very good, and there's even 3 of them now, but they're not, you know, not going to hold the line against everything. 1 amazing Baneling hits. Some Lings are left over, but really not that many. It's also not that many left over for QB, and her Banelings went through 3 Spine Crawlers and Queens. 2 of them do live, however. There's no Queen in the main base anymore. They're gonna go for the drones and somehow get nothing. This actually broke my brain a little. I guess because most of the drones are at the natural. But the Spine Crawler, QB, great at sniping those spines. Spires, sorry. That is a spire, not a Spine Crawler. She's great at sniping those spires. Doesn't snipe this one and has to escape through the spines, which loses her more and more Lings. QB, I thought she would go back and drone and macro. She did get the evolution chamber. It's once again that +1 melee and no more drones, actually, just the 3rd base. She is really committing to this. So far, Buzzbin, I mean, has she been taking worse army trades? Yeah, but the point of her game is not to, oh, well, she was supply blocked? Anyways, the point of her game is not to take amazing trades and then counter like we usually see. The point of her game is to get to mutas, because once Buzzbin has mutas, QB, I mean, maybe even loses the game. Like, legit, 9 mutas are on the way. These Banelings are going to try and do whatever the damage they can, but the Spine Crawlers, there's transfuses, the Lings are doing their job, but as the mutas pop out, and the mutas will clean everything up here. That's it. GG, QB, not going to be able to break Buzzbin's 2-base Spire. Buzzbin takes game number 1. Now that means we have to go over to Europe. And maybe QB will feel better and home field advantage.
Hostile forces detected. Arming raid defenses.
Thank you very much, Poison, for that host. She was playing earlier today as well. Talked about her being a streamer and all that. Ooh. QB is the one that chooses Automaton. That's not what I expected. Buzzbane is the Ling abuser here. But maybe QB's just more than willing to take her to that Ling war. Buzzbane's EU name is Jamie. Ah. Is two-basing with Zerg good strat? It's a very complex answer. Who is Buzzbin? I mean, I don't. Who is anyone really? I don't know how to answer that question. She's been in the Discord of the Banshees for a while, so I guess she's legit, as opposed to the past couple of weeks. But she hasn't been able to play, so there are a few Masters players that we just don't know about. I'm highly suspicious, convinced, whatever, that there are women in GM that we just don't know about. At least one or two. I would not be surprised, I guess, is actually a better way to put it. And at this point, I know there are far more women in like Masters 2 or 1 than people would really expect. Yeah, she's pretty good. Just hasn't had the chance to participate in the tournaments due to the time. All right. Buzzbin just checking her settings on Europe. Not surprising, she wouldn't play very often here. Second match. Look like there's someone hiding in the curtains. Look, all right. I don't know what curtains you're talking about. I guess the black things are technically curtains. They're just they're like padding is what I would say they are. I should have checked my settings, I guess. Fuck me. What the fuck, Europe? Why would you be on default? Doesn't make any sense. Alright, well, fuck this. Ugh. I'm not gonna make them restart or anything, but this is ugly. Oh my god. Please be a very quick game. The top, sorry, bottom left has the blue Zerg. She is QB. And top right has the red. No, why? Why? Am I colorblind today? What the fuck's going on? It's the green Zerg, Jamie. It's the second time that it's not even like the other person was blue. It's not like anyone's even been red today, I think. I don't understand. My brain. Lady Azalea is a caster. She has slot points for her. She has played in this tournament. Why are there be more women than we expect? I expect that women can play this game as well as any guy. I feel like sometimes I say some things with the, like, general understanding of how, like, the public perception is, you know? And I'm not saying anything crazy. And then one person or another, like, really just, like, hones in on something and is like, well, I think you're insinuating this. And I feel like that guy in particular that I'm calling out right now is always... Yeah, Pat. Pat, you're cool, but you always seem to, like, take the weirdest things out of what I say. Let's build up the story here while we watch some lings on the way from Buzzbin. She's gonna do the all-in again, by the way. It seems that way. Emergency. Expectations are that if there is a high-ranking woman, that surely people would know about her. Because for some reason, there has been a lot of... Well, girls don't really get that high up. And the ones that do are ones that we recognize because they're streamers or they were pro gamers at one point, like Flo or someone like that back in the day. There is definitely a lot of people who will say, well, I only know like ZombieGrub and Livy B are masters / GM. Are there really any other girls? And then you have to explain to them that there are, in fact, other public girls, actually. Streamers who are also Masters 1 and stuff like that. But that there also are people who just actually don't say that they're women. And they just play StarCraft like everyone else. To be purposefully obtuse about that just seems like, I don't know, really annoying. This all-in, not really gonna work out that well, but it didn't work out that well last game either, really. And yet QB still ended up losing the game overall. Speed is not done, but banelings are more important here. Holding the wall is more important. Spinecrawler is going to finish. This is a really nice location from QB to build a Spinecrawler too. I was having all those problems with Automaton. No Spinecrawler, easy peasy here. It wouldn't reach the natural really anyways, even if it was up there. But this was the nice way to hold an Automaton. You block off the ramp, and then you build a Spinecrawler that is on the low ground already, but is somewhere that you can actually, like, punish them for trying to surround and kill. If Buzzbin wanted to, she could have killed that, gotten us around there, but that was where the banelings played into the game. QB getting a very fast baneling nest really changed things up, made this a lot easier, and Spinecrawler was just the cherry on top. Speaking of Spinecrawlers, it looks like Buzzbin has her common follow-up to her all-in. QB, though, is a lot quicker about punishing this. I was kind of like, you know, discussing the idea of QB all-inning for a while before she did last game. This time, she's pulling that trigger nice and quick. She's going for her own attack, and it is looking like it is going to work. 13 drones go down. Still a baneling left over to take out any of Buzzbin's army, and that is it. Thank you for being a quick game. Thank you very much. Thank you, the Doc B3 for the Twitch Prime sub. Do I ever stream some of my games? Yes, I do. If you look at my past VODs, you'll see plenty of streams where I am just playing StarCraft. Seems like I won't have a preference for Zerg, am I wrong? It's one of those things where a lot of women do play Zerg, but it's also one of those, like, I don't know the technical term for it. I don't think it's confirmation bias, but that a lot of our popular Zerg players, sorry, a lot of our popular women players were Zerg, so it's kind of like this obnoxious, like, just because it seems like a lot do, or the ones you know do, it gets really annoying when you say, I play StarCraft, and they look at you and like, well, you're girls, you probably play Zerg, right? That's the annoying part about it. I guess that's the easier way to put it. What I was trying to discuss there is that I have to specify that there's more girls than society expects playing high leveled at StarCraft, because the automatic assumption when you meet someone online is that they're a man. And that is not something you can actually argue against. That is actually, like, literally proven fact. There's been studies and tests and stuff. Tests make it sound like there's, like, needles and whatnot, but you know what I mean. Sometimes I talk about some, like, you know, gender issue, or actually any issue, alright? Like, just open it up a little bit. Sometimes I talk about an issue, and sometimes I'm, you know, I don't have any factual backing behind it, and I'm pretty clear about that. But sometimes I say something, another person says something in disagreement, and I go, no, there's actually, like, facts and studies backing this up. And the other person says, I don't care, they're wrong. And I'm like, I don't know what to do now. What do I do to someone who wants to argue against me but doesn't want to actually, like, use facts and stuff? I don't know. It's all tied up. We're going into King's Cove. That is Buzzbin's map choice. Game 3 out of potential 5. Whoever wins this is just up a game. Nothing ends. Who's it gonna be? Is Buzzbin just a one-trick pony? Or does she have some macro games as well? The bottom right. As the green Zerg, she is Buzzbin. Maybe she's like a bin full of bees that are constantly buzzing. In the top left is the blue Zerg. She is QB. She wins whatever tournaments Telia does not make to the finals to. So in the past, that was 2 tournaments where Telia was sick or you know, was busy or something like that. Here today, it's because Buzzbin did QB a favor and knocked Telia out in a straight up Z. Well, it was a cheesy ZVZ, but it was a ZVZ. Telia wasn't off racing. She was trying her hardest. So that was nice of Buzzbin. QB also maybe in the future going to have more success against Telia if Telia chooses to continue playing, simply because of the change up of rules where we do swap servers, as that was something that was always QB's disadvantage whenever she would face someone in the finals. But now it's different, so that could have changed things up too. Point is, QB usually wins if Telia doesn't. Can Buzzbin cause another upset and shake out the usual Banshee tournament winner as well as a very consistent runner-up? Questions. Questions, questions, questions. And if she does it based all off of this 2-base shenaniganery, does that mean that she's going to be figured out for next time? You can be a one-trick pony on ladder, but the further you delve into tournaments and higher leagues of tournaments, the harder it's going to be to do that, unless your one trick is just super, super, super solid macro. No bueno? That was not a bueno thing to say. I know you're just trying to be funny with a somewhat lewd joke, but I think it's too lewd. I think you stepped over the line. Heyo! Hey, it's still a 2-base build, but it ain't Lings. She got 2 tricks.
Emergency induction.
Thank you, Unravel89, for the 2-month resub. Bugged resub alert. Hello. There's a kappa in there, so I can't tell if it really is or not. give a rip whoever I'm playing. Yeah, but that's not what I was bringing it up, though. I'm bringing it up because the amount of people that come into this channel or watch this tournament or they bring out the tournament, they're like, yeah, there's not many people, there's not many girls that are in Masters. How good can these players be? And then I have to like literally point at the screen and be like, well, these players are Masters. There's like so many people that just default assume that they would know if a woman was high level. And it's absurd, actually. Think that you would know the gender of everyone in a higher league, whatever higher league means to you. Anyways, Lair is on the way. This is kind of a weird build here. I thought she was gonna go for a 2-base Roach all-in, which she might still do, but you know, it'd be with like a Nidus Storm, I guess, at this point. But the order of buildings, the order of structures here, the actual build order as well as the build placement is just very weird. You know, if you're gonna go for a 2-base Lair Nidus Swarm, I would have expected you to just show a bunch of structures at the front of the base, get that wall off going, say like, oh, I could be going macro, I could be going for cheese. But this is just like a wide open main. So you're missing that protection of the wall against someone who's going for speedlings, which is a little worrying. And you're also losing the chance to deny them scouting as well without wall. So the wing gets in. Sees everything that is above board as far as structures go. Again, it's the placement that's a little weird. So QB sees that it's Evolution Chamber, Roach Warren. And she did invest into speed, which isn't really going to be able to use too effectively. Well, maybe. Again, the wall's not there, and Buzzbin is moving out with her army, but I don't think it's going to go so well. She's not quite at the number of roaches that can survive huge Ling floods. Although she is getting closer to that number. She is, more importantly, getting +1 and roach speed, which is all things pointed toward more of a macro game. It would be shocking of her to be aggressive. So back to QB, right? The Lings can still be useful. They're always going to threaten those run-bys. The Banelings would wash off any protecting Lings, and that is somewhat useful. Technically, QB, if she had known this would happen, could have just gone for roaches and a faster third herself. But obviously, Buzzbane has had a reputation be built up within about an hour of playing this tournament. So QB did all the very, very safe things like Banelings, Ling speed, and even spine crawlers. So she is behind, actually, in this game. Relatively even third bases. Usually it's faster for the speed player, the Ling speed player. And then also not able to really abuse Buzzbin's lack of wall or anything like that. So Buzzbin has gotten away with everything, plus a well-timed third base, plus about 10 more drones. Now, as I say that, QB actually does run in, gets into the main base, also into the third, but the third's where the army was, so that wasn't a whole lot. And this isn't really a lot of Lings anyways, in general. So 3 drones go down, maybe a 4th here. No, yes, a 4th, but that is it. I guess QB wasn't going to do very much more with the Lings besides threaten the run by, so she just went ahead and did it. Now into her own roaches. She's really not that far behind the +1 missile. We've definitely seen bigger discrepancies there in some other macro ZVZs. The lair is maybe an issue if roach speed, if Buzzbin was moving across the map, going for a big attack, then that could have been an issue how late it was, but I don't think it will this game. It's a lot more about the Spire play regardless. Buzzbin gets herself into a decent macro game with everything going well for the Roach Wars, but then has that trick again of going into the Spire, something that QB would love to see, and very capable of seeing, even if she just tried to run by. She also now has the ability to, hello. Well, hello there. Okay, well, she could send that in. Or she could send an Overseer in, because the lair is down is what I was going to. This Bailey could actually scout the Spire, if that would just waddle on over. It could even scout how many gases are being taken, if it would just waddle on over. Why ain't you waddling, buddy? Well, the little Baneling that couldn't, I suppose. 10 meters are on the way, and QB just clearly forgot about the Baneling. That's gonna be a surprise when it really should not have been. But regardless of should have, would have, could have's, QB is going to be in a difficult position. No Spore Crawlers, no extra Queens, obviously no Hydralisk Den. You don't really get one this quickly unless you think you need it. It's gonna be tough. Buzzbin is going to gain control, not through any early Ling pressure, but rather through a later, more reasonably timed Spire transition. And it should be effective. She's got about 14 mutas in general, +1 missile on the way. Sorry, flyer attack. +2 missile almost done. But these mutas going to be able to clear up at least 3 overlords. They're not going to go for the overlords. Going to go right for the throat. And this is a huge surprise. Usually the defending Zerg player at least gets the 10-second notice because you go for their overlords first, but not in this case. QB had set up this Ling run by in the first place, but now it might be a little bit desperate. It does get 11 drones, maybe a few more here, but it's not pulling the mutas back. They killed... Oh, wait, no. Reverse that. I'm sorry. That was QB's drones that went down. That makes so much more sense. Because QB's Lings really didn't seem like they were doing a whole lot. So QB loses 11 drones. Her run by did not end up bringing the mutas back, but this run by does. QB does have a slight armor supply lead, but she is down in that upgrade, and she also doesn't have an answer to the mutas even after this attack is done and over with, regardless of the actual damage it deals. QB is not adding on Spore Crawlers, not adding on Queens. This is going to be a macro game that goes in favor of Buzzbin unless she gets some defense set up right here, right now, and she's not. She's just continuing with her 2-1 upgrades. She's continuing building roaches. There's still really not a lot of defense here. There are Spore Crawlers, I guess, in the main and natural, but there's still not one at the third base and not a lot of extra queens. We even still have creep missing from the natural to the third, much less to any potential fourth. The mutas should just dominate from here on out. Decent number, about to have +1 flyer attack. Buzzbin can very easily, assuredly go for those replacement drones. She knows where the army is, or she should anyways, if she's constantly using her mutas. Third base is in fact a goner. This Overlord is QB's, so Buzzbin has not seen the Roach move out, but can the Roach move out really do equivalent damage? Now we have Overlords going down as well. QB, thinking she had a handle on Buzzbin's tactics, gets super surprised by that mid-game muta swap and is most likely going to die for it. Burrow and Tunneling Claws can be a decent way to circumvent the mutas and get your own damage done. And she does finally have some Hydras on the way as well. Roaches doing more damage than expected as these ones are being chased down, and there's nothing else to take care of this. We also have no drone pull away. A bit of a mistake there from our green Zerg. But even with the 12 drones going down, she still has 42, 40, 39. Hold on here. A lot of these drones are very weak. Okay, so she still has an even number with QB, but Buzzbin has the third base, and she has the mutas, which are actually really growing quite a bit in number and upgrades. We're up to 25 mutas against 8 Hydras and 3 queens. I do believe that works in favor of the mutas, especially without any Spore Crawlers to support them. Yep. Muta's gonna win this day. Thank you, Diesel, for the tier 3 sub. I think you're the only tier 3 sub, man. Big love. 17 months. This attack didn't go, I guess, as well as Buzzbin was hoping for, but she is taking care of a lot of these anti-air units. Not even going for the Hydras end. Nope, goes for the Hydras themselves. She can get both. She can get everything. Because mutas in this high of a number are pretty damn good. Tunneling Claws are going to try and once again bring the mutas back home or do some equalizing damage. But until you can truly, really efficiently take out those mutas, Buzzbin wins all the game scenarios. She wins the base races, she wins the stupid low economy wars, she wins the straight up battle, so on and so forth. Unless we got some like infestors out or a ton more Hydras. A little bit of miscontrol on the mutas, there we go. Bulks them up again, goes to the Spore and the Hydras. More mutas come through here. +2 flyer attack is almost done as well, and QB will finally tap out. GG. Buzzbin takes game number 3 for the 2-1 lead, but not victory. Not yet. Thank you, Jargonates, for the Prime sub as well. Thank God for the region swapper button. So we got an extra $5 from Thai Sticks. And the Matcherino, thank you. I miss infested command centers. It would be cool to somehow include that back into the game, even though it never happened in Brood War. The times that it did was quite fun. Double checking to make sure we have the right overlay this time. That was terrible. It's truly terrible. Oh. Cyber Forest is QB's map choice. This could technically be the last game if Buzzbin's able to take it. It has been swapping back and forth, though. We'll see. Yes, that's correct. The bottom right is the Blue Zerg down a game. She is QB. In the top left is the Green Zerg. She is Buzzbin. Jamie on Europe. Goes for the extractor trick. Can medevacs heal air units? 100% yes. Say a mind-controlled medevac healing a muta. Yeah. I guess there aren't any bio air units, so it's a legitimate question, but if you ever play team games, then yes, your medevacs will heal mutas and corruptors. Hatch gas pool versus hatch gas pool. A little bit faster on that gas for our Green Zerg, though. Don't think it's gonna make any difference. Sometimes you can feel like a real true baller when your speed kicks in 2 seconds before your opponent, and you sit there and go, haha, I'm the better Zerg player. I win all. But it doesn't actually matter. It's when it's like, you know, a pool first versus a pool after hatch gas. That's the speed timing that matters, but as far as seconds difference, not gonna net you any free wins. Evolution Chamber. We've seen so many +1 melee builds today, and may just continue. Thank you, Bahantome. Like an SCV repair Protoss units. Yep. Yes, they can. Who gets charged for the SCV repair? The owner of the SCV or the unit being repaired? That is actually a very good question. I'm going to assume that it is the SCV owner. It's a portion of the cost of the unit you're repairing, but it is still your repair. So, just because a medevac heals another unit doesn't mean that that unit is using its energy. So, yeah, that's my final answer. It is +1 Carapace, actually. I was just assuming, and I was wrong. But it has been +1 melee up until this point, so going to that Carapace, that is the actual number difference. Where +1 Carapace means you can take an extra hit from a Baneling. Those kill shots are very important for those upgrades. And they exist everywhere in StarCraft 2. Have changed over time. You know, for instance, +1 vehicle weapons on tanks is so damn important, but now it's different. Banelings have more health, and I feel like there's a change of Lings as well, but I can't remember. Or maybe there's a change of the tank. Oh my god. Was there at one point? I don't fucking remember. Anyways, +2 on Adepts, and the Adept versus Adept wars of PvP was a big deal, and then, well, no one does Adepts versus Adept anymore. There's other things as well, I can't think of them right now, but the point is, they're a big deal, and Buzzbin is the one going for the Carapace. She'll also just have stronger Lings in general. It doesn't have Ling speed yet. That is the sacrifice. You have much later Ling speed. It's not like QB is really going to be able to take advantage of it. Her Lings enter the main. That's annoying, but shouldn't be a lot of damage done. The natural Lings also aren't shift-clicked on top of the drone, so that should have been maybe 3 drone kills. It ends up being, oh my god! Well, that's game, isn't it? That's 5 seconds before +1 Carapace was done. That could have been so many more Lings. It's not actually game, by the way. Unfortunately, QB doesn't have enough Lings to really pile on the aggression from that, so luckily for Buzzbin, she will be able to replenish those, but oh my god, were those amazing Baneling hits. They were flippin' amazing. Third base is on the way for a green Zerg. If she's able to secure that, she will have a decent position in this game. She is down in drones, but she will have that Carapace plus more injects if she's able to hold. Another great Baneling hit, even with the Carapace being in effect at that time. There were 2 Banelings, and they got the hits, so still a victory there. Plus, if one Baneling gets connection, it's still such a damn low health that it's left over with the Lings, right? That it's gonna force QB to win the game. Or no, sorry, fight anyways. Trying her best to micro against that Baneling, but it's super difficult. As I said, all the Lings very low even after taking the 1 shot from them. This is really going to come down to how good their injects are, probably. Yes, Buzzbin has some defense advantage, but with Speedling, it's really hard to depend on that. More so depending on taking out the Lings, Banelings when possible, and then her Queen's helping whenever possible, too. Looks like things might finally be slowing down. She has managed to stop any further Banelings from being made. QB is going to go for +1 melee, which is a cheaper upgrade, by the way, and will counteract that +1 Carapace. The +1 Carapace will go into the mid and late game better than +1 melee. These Lings are going to get surrounded and taken care of very easily, but what about this third base? I don't see any Banelings here. One is on the way, not being target fired despite a very low tech cocoon. No, wait, there was 3 more Banelings coming from the right side anyway. And now this is really scary stuff. Oh, QB with some manual detonations. Has one too many manual detonation, but it looks like she'll be able to just barely get this hatchery regardless. So hold on here, Jamie. Buzzbin, F2, you got more Lings to use, and they still have that upgrade advantage. Oh my good lord, she will save that hatchery. And if she can find the minerals to spare, she could even start adding on a queen to it. She's got a queen here, queen there. Looks like they've been a little lopsided with those injects. But it's not like either player is really banking a hell of a lot, although QB is starting to a little bit. Now going back into those drones, she is up 9 drones with her own third base at this point in time. That took so long for Buzzbin to really take control of. That QB fixed all those things he was missing. Her upgrade and her third hatchery timing. A lot of banelings defensively, which I feel like Buzzbin could just take that as a sign to the drone and just be like, okay, I forced you to do something, but she is not. She is actually still committing with a lot of lings. She's taking out the banelings as well. +1 melee is almost done, and that is going to really, really help there. But Buzzbin already starting off his attack rather well by getting so many detonations. That was so many banelings. I thought for sure QB was going to be A-okay, but not the case. She's once again under a lot of heat here, but it looks like this will be enough with the finish advantage kicking in with the banelings finishing up here. But Buzzbin still not really done. She had temporarily stopped rallying lings, I guess. But we still have like 12 more popping forward. There we go. Now she goes into those drones, and she really does need to catch up on those drones. If she can do that, then the game continues on. But oh lordy, the ping is not in. Oh god, Buzzbin's favor. Yeah, careful, 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 careful. And she never tried to go for her own baneling nest. Her own baneling nest really would have been helpful. The +1 carapace advantage was something for sure for a while, but it was clear that it was going quite even, and now is in fact not favorable at all. It has not really worked for a Green Zerg. She lost the third base. She didn't win off the back of that one carapace. It just is not a build that has worked for her, although it got close. If she had gone for her own baneling nest at any point, 2 minutes ago, it's probably easier holds and easier counters. And, it's a very different game. Looks like QB will be taking all the games on the European server, but this does mean we go back to NA. Unfortunately, you kind of need to choose a default server. Someone's going to get a little screwed over, as 5 maps is on an even number. So officially the last game right now. We still have 3 maps to choose from. Buzzbin has tried to pick Automaton every single time. I think we did actually. So I think the leftover maps were Port, Year Zero, and New Pugnancy, maybe? Good thing Kiwi was paying attention. Final game starting up here. Port Alexander for game 5. There's a lot of action. No one wanting to go into that slow roach build-up. Mostly, I guess you could say Buzzbin is the one forcing the aggression. But to be honest, QB wasn't really that type of player anyways versus other Zergs. So I'm not surprised it's a bunch of Ling Bailing wars. All tied up. In the bottom right, as the blue Zerg, she is QB. The top left is the green Zerg, she is Buzzbin. Our surprise breakout performer of this tournament, having been unable to participate because of the times of the last Banshee tournament, of the usual ones. This one being a little off because there's the BCS going on. But honestly, there's been a little bit of talk as well about just generally moving the time slot of this tournament to appeal maybe a little bit more to Americans on the West Coast. Had to wake up quite early, for instance, for the usual time. And the Europeans all seem to agree that it's not really the worst to play at midnight because I guess we're all nerdy gamers. And it seems to be a success. I mean, today we had a decent amount of signups, so if I could see this as a test run, it's been a good one so far. Might be some reorganizing of the prize payout as well. Maybe a third place match that I'm not really interested in casting, to be honest. I have issues with third place matches being cast. I don't think they're ever quite done well. I think they mostly just break up the momentum and the hype of everything else, but that's another thing. But I am totally okay with it being played off stream and just having a different prize rewarded to third, fourth. Because right now, there's really not a point. They're both paid the same. It's like, yeah. But things to think about. Speed already starting here for Buzzbin. She got that faster pool. She got that faster gas. It's going to be considerably faster in this context right now. Maybe if she wasn't going to go for a big Ling swell, then the 15 seconds or whatever difference it is, maybe, you know, whatever. But 10-15 seconds is a big deal usually in StarCraft 2. It's the 2 to 5 seconds that you're like, whatever. And in this case, it is all about the Lings. QB, she was so prepared in many of these games for this all-in. Will she be prepared again? Already a bailiness on the way. And this is an earlier one than if you're playing a standard macro game versus Zerg player. So she is onto it. She also got the vision with this Overlord. This map was very tricky to get any type of surprise Ling attack, but again, maybe waiting a little while longer so that it is speed finishing as she is seen. It seems like it's a choice though, that she's not just like mistiming the speed, but rather that she wants to get things started. And I'm not on board with that being the right choice necessarily, but she has certainly gotten results from some of the games and not results from the others. The bailiness being on the front lines ends up being a huge mistake for QB. He doesn't even get the cancel on it, and also can't make the bailings. So that was a big, strong supporter of that last game, or the Automaton game, where she otherwise would have had trouble saving that natural base. In this case, she doesn't save it at all. I mean, she saves herself from dying because she holds the main ramp with the queens, but she can't save the natural without the help of the spine crawler, without the help of banelings, or her own damned good amount of lings. Now, she finally is getting to that amount of lings that can take on Buzzbins, but it obviously took her longer, and she will have a slight disadvantage in terms of getting surrounded as she's coming down a ramp. She'll be concaved on. Eventually, Buzzbin will have to leave, though. The Bailey Nest is finishing again. We have a transfuse on this queen, so a little bit longer. Not so on this one. Spinecrawler is not actually helping out. If it could be a little bit farther forward, I think it would help out. Spinecrawler, why are you so lazy? Get a longer neck. Jesus. But it is a Spinecrawler for safety in case she overestimates. That is, QB overestimates her own lings, which she just about did there. Buzzbin is still making lings. Something that QB, if she can pay attention at two things at once, right? Like, she would see more lings on the way. It's just very hard to do in very stressful scenarios. Buzzbin going for a Spinecrawler. This is where we saw her transition out into a Spire. Goes for a second Spinecrawler. I think that is the plan here. Delay QB's natural as long as possible. And this is a significant delay, but do keep in mind, Buzzbin is down 6 drones and is now down in that Baneling technology, so it's going to be very, very scary. QB, one of the games in the best of 5, she was able to win because she instantly snapped back. Oh, it's a good Baneling hit. With the all lane from Buzzbin not quite working out, QB immediately countered with her Baneling advantage, was able to win. Now that she got such a great Baneling hit, she might try and do that again. Not much to do about that hatchery, just have to wait for it to finish. 21 drones still does kind of, well saturate a main base, and it is still a considerable economic lead until Buzzbin gets her drone count up a little bit more. But Buzzbin's not about the economy right now. She's more about that technology again with the lair on the way. She wants to get to that Spire. Where are QB's Banelings? Did they already detonate? They did. No, I'm sorry. She was hiding them somewhere else, or maybe they took the wrong path. I'm not sure. They were a little late. And while they're here, and that's important, they could have been helping out the Lings. QB losing more than maybe she should have, taking a fight she didn't have to. Is now have to, she's forced to retreat back home and actually deal with it. She doesn't want the queen to die. She doesn't want drones to be picked off. She will save everything there, but she will lose a potential attack timing. I feel like she could still go for the attack, but she's not, and that's an issue here. QB also having real problems with her macro because the natural was taken down. This is certainly a situation where I would say that a double expand, if you really are having so much trouble, would have been understandable and even good. Maybe it doesn't work out because, third base under this much pressure, like, why would you ever suggest it? But it also would be 300 minerals that she can easily afford. Now, defensively, QB is fine, but she really needs to get eyes on the lair, and then she also needs to set up for that anti-muta. I assume it's going to be muta anyways. Stage of the game. So I guess I should say defensively against Lings, QB is totally fine. It's the future that is a little scary. With this timing of layers, I don't think QB can go for her own Spire, but I have seen it happen. If you're 40 seconds behind a Spire, you can go for it. If you're 80 seconds behind a Spire, maybe. But if you are a full layer behind and the Spire, then I don't think it's actually worth going for your own mutas. But we'll see what QB's choice is. She is adding on that +1 melee, sticking with the Lings. Generally, this means they are going to go into that Spire play. Buzzbin certainly will be surprised by that, so I guess that's one factor to consider. She'll probably have +1 flyer attack on the way, and QB will have +1 carapace. But QB actually hasn't seen the lair or the Spire. She's been doing a very good job, like, obviously reading into Buzzbin's tactics. Or maybe she doesn't have to worry about it. So many damn Banelings. What was Buzzbin really supposed to do? Another Baneling bites off most of the Lings. Drones are being pulled here to help save the queens, and there's almost a transfuse ready. That might just be enough. McHugh's got more Lings on the way. She did successfully take out the Spine Crawler. No third Spine Crawler this time. Remember, Buzzbin did have that the last time she was able to win through the mutas. The Spire is done. She doesn't have any Lings, or minerals, sorry, because she made so many Lings. That could have been a huge mistake. Banelings pop off, almost get that queen. They do get the queen before she can set up that transfuse. This could be it in QB's favor. Lings and a single Baneling going into that main base. This one could pop off on the Lings. It probably should wait to pop off on Lings, not the drones. And that's exactly... Nope. Okay, she goes for the drones with 6 drones down. Buzzbin was already desperate about the economy anyways for, drone count-wise. It was always about having the Spire. But now it's even worse. Now she is at 23 drones, trying to afford however many mutas you can. She doesn't have that solid setup of a defense. No queens, none of her own Lings, only 1 Spine Crawler for future Ling run-bys, especially because QB has that +1 melee. Her mutas are a strength for sure, but without anything to support them, they're always going to have trouble going anywhere. They have to stay at home all the time to deal with the Lings, and while they can deal with the Lings, it's just not what they're really supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, QB on 34 drones with that upgrade is also adding on her own Spire. In this situation, it's totally fine. She got such an economic lead, such momentum from that attack that she did, that she will go ahead and rise up in that muta count faster than Buzzbin will, despite being so late to the party. 4 Spore Crawlers go down. Technically, I don't think QB needed to do that, but it's understandable that she did, and it is far safer that she does this. But technically, because her Spiral is so close to finishing, she could have only gone for 1 Spore Crawler, right? Or a couple extra queens, I guess, but... Spore Crawlers are cheaper than queens, so... 5 mutas are on the way, with more to come with a stronger economy. Buzzbin has remade her mutas. Uh-oh, accidental hold position. Has remade her drones. Loses 3 more, but is still at an evenish count. Does this game really continue on? QB, going for that +1 Carapace like I called. Buzzbin, for some reason, some unknown reason, going for overload speed? That's really weird. That's a big mistake. 100 would have been better into +1 flyer attack. Yet not as good as Carapace, and that's what QB is getting. QB at now an even Muta count. Well, actually, she's going to win the Muta War. Buzzbin's Mutas aren't all here. And QB's are, so that is a victory for these Mutas, as Buzzbin's even lagging behind a little. You know, she's not quite clicking her Mutas all the way across the map. So they're actually getting shot when they shouldn't be. Overlord's gonna go down. She did get Overlord speed, but now there's 8 Mutas for QB. When they find Overlord, they should be able to kill it. QB will also be able to reinforce with Lings that are a bit better in quality with the +1 melee. And Lings are a sometimes really crucial part of the Muta War. Which is why when Mutas were really popular, and it was always me versus Muta, I personally enjoyed the matchup. I know many other people didn't. But I think it was more complicated than people give it credit. Lings are gonna find more than a few drones. The drones do not do a great job tackling Lings in the first place, much less an upgrade down. Mutas are going to come in here and take the fights. Maybe they should retreat. Now they're good. 2 queens helping out is sometimes considerable, but not going to be enough. QB takes game number 5. And as such takes first place, but really great showing from Buzzbin. Like a little humor there, doing a bit of crying face at the end.